Imagine standing on the edge of a vast prehistoric river. The air is thick, humid, and smells of sulfur and damp earth. You see a ripple in the water, something massive moving just beneath the surface. You might think it's a giant crocodile, but as the creature lunges, you realize it is something far more terrifying. This isn't a movie set, and there are no special effects here. This was the reality of our planet for millions of years. We often walk through our modern world feeling like the masters of nature. But if we were transported back just a few thousand or million years, we would be nothing more than a snack for the titans that once roamed the earth. Today, we are counting down the 5 most dangerous animals to ever go extinct. These aren't just big animals. They were apex predators that redefined the meaning of power. We are going beyond the typical museum exhibits to uncover the terrifying biology and the cold, calculated hunting methods of creatures so formidable that it's probably a good thing they're no longer around. Get ready, because we're diving straight into a world of giants. Starting with a predator that made the great white shark look like a goldfish. The first monster on our list is a creature that has haunted the collective nightmares of humanity since we first discovered its massive teeth in the ocean floor. We are talking about Carcharodontis megalodon. Imagine a shark that reached lengths of nearly 60 feet. To put that into perspective, that's about the size of 2 school buses parked end to end. Its jaw was so wide that an adult human could stand upright inside it without ducking. But it wasn't just the size that made Megalodon dangerous. It was the sheer force of its bite. Scientists have used computer modeling to estimate that a Megalodon could exert a bite force of up to 40,000 pounds per square inch. For comparison, a modern great white shark has a bite force of about 4,000 pounds. Megalodon was 10 times more powerful. It didn't just bite its prey, it pulverized it. It hunted whales, specifically large baleen whales, and it had a very specific strategy. It would strike the heart or the lungs of its prey with a single, massive blow, ending the struggle almost instantly. The ocean today is a relatively quiet place compared to the Pliocene epoch when this titan ruled the depths. If Megalodon were still swimming in our oceans, no ship or swimmer would ever be truly safe. Now let's step out of the water and into the dense jungles and swamps of what is now South America. About 60 million years ago, imagine a snake so large that it could easily peek through a second-story window. This is Titanoboa cerahonensis. When researchers first found the vertebrae of this creature in a coal mine in Colombia, they couldn't believe their eyes. They thought it was a giant crocodile at first because of the scale. Titanoboa reached lengths of 45 to 50 feet and weighed over a ton. It was as thick as a tractor tire. Unlike modern constrictors like the anaconda or the python, which are already terrifying, Titanoboa operated on a completely different level of physics. Its sheer weight alone would have been enough to crush the life out of its prey. It lived in a world that was significantly warmer than ours today, which allowed cold-blooded reptiles to grow to these impossible sizes. Its primary diet consisted of giant crocodiles and massive turtles. Imagine a snake that doesn't just swallow a goat, but swallows a creature the size of a cow in one go. The scariest part about Titanoboa was its stealth. Despite its massive size, it was an ambush predator, likely lurking in the murky waters of the rainforest, waiting for something to come down for a drink. You wouldn't see it coming until it was already too late. Coming in at number 3, we move into the era when humans were actually starting to walk the earth, which makes this predator even more unnerving. This is Smilodon populator, better known as the saber-toothed tiger. Although it wasn't actually a tiger, Smilodon was a hyper-specialized feline built for raw strength. While a modern lion is a balanced athlete, Smilodon was more like a professional wrestler. It had massive front limbs and a thick neck designed to pin down enormous prey like bison or even young mammoths. But the defining feature, of course, were those 7-inch-long serrated canines. For a long time, scientists wondered how it used them without breaking them. The answer is fascinating and terrifying. Smilodon would use its immense muscular power to pin a large animal to the ground, holding it perfectly still so it couldn't struggle. Then, with surgical precision, it would drive those saber teeth into the throat of its prey, severing the jugular vein and the windpipe in a single movement. It was a specialist in the quick ending. What makes Smilodon truly dangerous in the context of history is that it lived alongside early humans. We have found evidence that our ancestors had to compete with these cats for food and territory. Imagine trying to survive in a world where a 400-pound cat with knives for teeth is lurking in the tall grass outside your cave. It's a miracle we made it at all. For our 4th entry, we have to look back at the skies. Most people think of birds as harmless or even delicate, but millions of years ago, the skies were home to the teratorns. Specifically, Argentavis magnificens. This was the largest flying bird to ever exist. It had a wingspan of over 24 feet. To give you a visual, that's roughly the same wingspan as a modern Cessna light aircraft. Argentavis didn't flap its wings like a pigeon. It was a master of soaring, using the thermal currents of the Andes Mountains to stay aloft for hours with minimal effort. While it was related to modern vultures, research suggests it wasn't just a scavenger. It was an active predator. It could drop from the sky like a feathered bomber, using its sheer mass and its massive hooked beak to overwhelm its targets on the ground. It could swallow small animals whole, and its beak was powerful enough to tear through the thickest hides. Imagine a shadow passing over you, and as you look up, you see a bird the size of a plane coming down at 60 miles per hour. There was no escaping that kind of aerial superiority. It was the undisputed king of the skies, a predator that saw the world as one giant hunting ground. Finally, we reached the most infamous predator of all time. But we're not looking at it the way the movies do. We're talking about the real Tyrannosaurus Rex. Forget the idea that it couldn't see you if you stayed still. That's a myth. Recent studies on T-Rex brain casts show that it had some of the most advanced senses of any predator in history. It had binocular vision better than a modern hawk, meaning it could track movement and judge distance with incredible accuracy. Its sense of smell was even more impressive, with olfactory bulbs the size of grapefruit, allowing it to pick up the scent of prey from miles away. But the true weapon was the mouth. A T-Rex had 50 to 60 teeth, some the size of bananas, specifically designed for bone crushing. While other dinosaurs had blades for teeth to slice flesh, T-Rex had railroad spikes designed to shatter bone and liquefy the marrow inside. Its bite force was estimated at 8,000 pounds, enough to crush a car. It was a 5-ton tank with the intelligence of a bird of prey and the senses of a bloodhound. It didn't just hunt, it dominated its entire ecosystem. Every other creature in its environment was either a food source or something that got out of the way. It was the ultimate expression of predatory evolution on land. Why are we so fascinated by these creatures? Why do they occupy such a massive space in our imaginations? It's because they represent a world where the rules were different. In the modern world, we are insulated from the raw, unfiltered power of nature. We live in cities, we drive cars, and the most dangerous thing we usually encounter is a spider in the bathroom. But looking at the Megalodon or the T-Rex reminds us that we are part of a much older, much more violent story. These animals were the peak performers of their time. They didn't go extinct because they were bad at being predators. They went extinct because the world changed in ways even they couldn't adapt to. Climate shifts, volcanic activity, or changes in the food chain eventually brought these giants down. It shows us that even the most powerful creatures are at the mercy of the planet's shifting cycles. Think about the Titanoboa for a second. Its existence tells us that 40 million years ago, the Earth was so warm that the equator was a giant, steaming greenhouse. That heat provided the metabolic fuel for a snake to reach 50 feet. If the planet ever returns to those temperatures, who's to say that something similar wouldn't evolve again? The blueprint is there in the DNA. These extinct animals aren't just remnants of the past. They are possibilities of the future. They show us the limits of what biological life can achieve. Evolution is a constant process of trial and error, and these 5 animals were some of the most successful trials to ever walk, swim, or fly. There is also a sense of profound mystery when we look at these creatures. We only have their bones and their footprints to go off. We don't know what color the T-Rex was, or what kind of sound the Smilodon made. Did the Argentavis have a haunting call that echoed through the mountains, or was it a silent hunter? Scientists are using new technologies like protein analysis and CT scanning to fill in these blanks, but there will always be a part of these animals that remains in the shadows. That's why we keep going back to them. Every time a new fossil is found, we get a little closer to understanding the giants that paved the way for us. Let's consider the impact of these predators on their environments. An apex predator like the Megalodon didn't just eat fish, it kept the entire ocean in balance. By hunting the largest whales, it influenced where those whales traveled and how they fed. When the Megalodon vanished, it created a massive vacuum in the ocean's ecosystem, allowing smaller sharks and different types of whales to flourish. The same goes for the T-Rex. Its presence forced other dinosaurs to evolve armor, spikes, and defensive behaviors. The threat of a predator is often the primary driver of evolution for everyone else. We are the products of a world that was shaped by the fear of these giants. It's also interesting to think about the almost extinctions. There were times in history when animals nearly as dangerous as these almost made it to the present day. The American lion or the giant short-faced bear only went extinct around 10,000 years ago. That's a blink of an eye in geological terms. Our ancestors likely saw these animals, told stories about them, and maybe even painted them on cave walls. The line between the prehistoric world and the human world is much thinner than we often realize. We missed sharing the planet with these 5 titans by a relatively small margin of time. If you ever get the chance to stand next to a T-Rex skeleton in a museum, take a moment to really look at the size of the skull. Look at the thickness of the neck bones. You can feel the power radiating off those fossils even millions of years later. It's a humbling experience. It reminds us that we are small, and that our time on this planet is just one chapter in a very, very long book. These animals were the protagonists of earlier chapters, and they played their parts with terrifying efficiency. We must also appreciate the sheer diversity of these predators. You have a fish, a reptile, a mammal, a bird, and a dinosaur. 5 different branches of the tree of life, each producing a perfect killing machine. It shows that no matter the form, the environment will always find a way to create an apex predator. Whether it's in the air, in the deep ocean, or in the thickest jungle, life will always produce something that sits at the top of the food chain. These animals were the ultimate answers to the question of how to survive and thrive in a world of competition. The Argentavis, for instance, represents the absolute limit of flight biology. Any larger, and it wouldn't have been able to get off the ground. Any heavier, and its wings would have crumbled under the pressure. It was a creature balanced on the edge of what was physically possible. Similarly, the Megalodon was at the limit of what a gill-breathing animal could achieve in terms of mass and energy requirements. These animals were the extreme athletes of the natural world, pushing the boundaries of bone, muscle, and metabolism. When we talk about them being dangerous, we have to remember that they weren't evil, they were just doing what they were designed to do. A T-Rex wasn't a monster, it was a biological masterpiece. Its hunt was a display of incredible sensory integration and physical power. To call them dangerous is a human perspective, but from the perspective of the Earth, they were just another part of the symphony of life. They were the stabilizers of their eras, ensuring that only the strongest and most adaptable survived. The Titanoboa is perhaps the most alien of all these creatures to us. A snake that thick and that long is hard to visualize even with modern technology. It represents a different kind of horror. The kind that comes from the dark, quiet corners of the world. While the T-Rex is loud and overwhelming, the Titanoboa is the shadow in the water, the sudden weight that drags you under. It's a reminder that danger doesn't always come with a roar. Sometimes it's silent, and it weighs over a ton. As we look at these 5 extinct giants, we should also think about the animals we have today. We still have the great white shark, the saltwater crocodile, and the Siberian tiger. They are the descendants of these ancient lines. They might be smaller, but they carry the same predatory DNA. We have a responsibility to ensure that our modern monsters don't end up like the Megalodon or the Smilodon. Extinction is a natural process, but in the modern era, it's happening at a rate that is anything but natural. We are the first species in history that has the power to either cause extinction or prevent it. The stories of the Smilodon and the T-Rex are lessons in environmental fragility. Even the most powerful hunters can be brought down by a change in the weather or a shift in the availability of prey. It teaches us that no matter how dominant a species seems, it is always connected to the health of the entire planet. If the habitat goes, the predator goes with it. It's a lesson we are still learning today as we watch our own ecosystems change. Imagine for a second a world where these animals didn't go extinct. Imagine a coast where you have to look out for 40-foot snakes, or an ocean where the Megalodon still patrols the shipping lanes. Our entire civilization would be different. We would have had to build our cities like fortresses. Our relationship with the planet would be defined by a much greater sense of humility. We are only able to be as bold and disruptive as we are because the giants have left the stage. We are the beneficiaries of an empty throne. The saber-toothed cat, Smilodon, is especially interesting because it shows us that evolution can produce the same solution multiple times. There were other unrelated animals, like the Thylacosmilus, a marsupial, that evolved almost identical saber teeth in South America. Nature loves a good design, and the heavy-duty ambush predator with giant stabbing teeth is a design it has returned to several times. It's a reminder that the world is a workshop of endless possibilities, and Smilodon was simply one of the most successful versions of that project. Every time you hear about a new scientific discovery regarding these animals, Whether it's the discovery of T-Rex feathers or the analysis of Titanoboa's diet, it's a chance to rewrite our understanding of life. We are living in a golden age of paleontology. We have more data now than ever before. We can analyze the chemical isotopes in a megalodon tooth to see exactly what the ocean temperature was millions of years ago. These fossils are time capsules, and we are finally learning how to read the messages inside. The Argentavis reminds us of the grandeur of the sky. It's easy to look at a pigeon or a seagull and forget that the air can support a creature with a 24-foot wingspan. It tells us that the sky is not just a place for the small and light, but a territory that was once conquered by giants. It's a dizzying thought, imagining a bird that could shadow an entire house as it passed by. It gives the concept of flight a whole new meaning. In the end, these 5 dangerous animals are more than just scary stories or museum attractions. They are the evidence of the Earth's incredible creative power. They are the results of a planet that has been experimenting with life for nearly 4 billion years. They were the champions of their time, and they deserve our respect and our awe. Even though they are gone, their presence is still felt in the way we think about the wild and the way we understand our own place in the world. We are fortunate to live in a time when we can study these giants without having to face them. We get all of the wonder and none of the terror. But let that wonder turn into an appreciation for the world we still have. The great white shark might not be a megalodon, but it is a magnificent predator that has survived for millions of years. The tiger might not have 7-inch sabers, but it is a masterpiece of feline evolution. By studying the extinct, we learn to value the living. The Earth is a theater that has seen many different casts of characters. The Megalodon, the Titanoboa, the Smilodon, the Argentavis, and the T-Rex were the lead actors in some of the most dramatic acts in history. Their performances were defined by power, speed, and a ruthless drive to survive. They were the ultimate dangerous animals, and though their time has passed, their legend is immortal. Every fossil is a standing ovation for a species that once ruled the world. As you go about your day, think about the history beneath your feet. Beneath the asphalt and the grass lie the remains of a world that was far more wild and far more dangerous than anything we know. We are walking on the bones of giants. That knowledge shouldn't make us afraid. It should make us curious. It should make us want to protect the world that remains and understand the world that came before. The giants are gone, but their story is our story. The 5 most dangerous animals to ever go extinct were more than just monsters. They were the pinnacle of biological engineering. They were the rulers of the land, the sea, and the air. Their extinction was the end of an era, but it was also the beginning of ours. We are the successors to their world, and it's up to us to decide what kind of world we want to leave behind. Will it be a world full of life and diversity, or will we become just another chapter in the book of extinctions? The T-Rex with its bone-shattering bite, the Smilodon with its surgical precision, the Titanoboa with its crushing weight, the Argentavis with its aerial dominance, and the Megalodon with its sheer oceanic power. They all tell the same story, a story of life's incredible ability to adapt, to grow, and to overcome. They were the masters of their domains, and though they have vanished, their roaring, hissing, and shrieking still echo in our imaginations. They are the eternal kings of the prehistoric world, and we are their humble students. So the next time you look at the ocean, the sky, or the forest, remember the phantoms that once lived there. Remember that the world has seen things we can barely imagine. Use that knowledge to look at nature with fresh eyes. See the power in a shark's fin, the speed in a hawk's dive, and the strength in a lion's pounce. They are the living legacy of the giants. The world is a beautiful and dangerous place, just as it has always been, and we are lucky to be a part of it. Thank you for journeying back in time with us to meet these 5 legendary predators. Their stories are a vital part of the history of our planet, and their fossils are a treasure trove of information that continues to surprise us. Stay curious, keep exploring, and never stop wondering about the amazing creatures that once called this Earth home. The giants might be gone, but their history is more alive than ever. Let's make sure we continue to learn from them and protect the wild world that remains. The story of life is the greatest story ever told, and the extinct giants are some of its most compelling characters. By looking back at where we've been, we get a better sense of where we're going. The Earth is a resilient and creative planet, and who knows what new giants it might produce in the millions of years to come. Until then, we have the fossils, our imaginations, and the thrill of the hunt for more knowledge. The past is never truly dead. It's just waiting to be discovered. May the legends of the T-Rex, the Megalodon, and all the others inspire you to respect the power of nature and the fragility of life. We are all part of this incredible journey, from the smallest cell to the largest predator. The road of evolution is long and full of surprises, and we are just getting started. Keep your eyes open, because the world is full of wonders, both living and long gone. Until next time, keep the spirit of discovery alive, and remember the giants,